Hey guys, I thought I'd share with you on how to find the angle of a bend, the arc length of the bend, and where your start and end bend will be. So what I'm doing here is, it's my second gen 4Runner. I cut off everything in the back and I'm going to build a tube chassis back here. The tube chassis will tie into the existing roll cage as well as the frame rails. What I want my new tube to do is match this profile, be even with the roof along there, come back down, and then it will tie into the frame. So with the tubing being up here, to tie this tube in to the new tube, I'm going to have to cut back here, put a new piece of tubing in here with a bend, and then I'll notch this tube so it captures the new tube. But anyway, so to find where your start of bend is going to be, you need to find the center line of your roof or whatever you're measuring. And then for a tool, what I use is this 180 degree tubing. I'll set the tubing to match the profile that I want. And then you can kind of see the little silver line right there. That's where my start of bend is. So you transfer that line onto your roof, and then you measure from that line to the center line of your roof. That'll be your start of bend. Now, to figure out the angle of your bend, you'll need your angle finder. I'm just going to call that 70 degrees right there. 70 degrees. And now from here we'll do a little bit of math to figure out the arc length, and it'll give us our end of bend out here. Come over here and I'll show you the formula. It's not too difficult as long as you have a calculator. So here we go. To find your arc length, you need to find the radians. So the formula for radians is your angle times pi divided by 180. So an example would be is our 70 degrees times pi divided by 180 equals 1.22173. That's your radians. So now for your arc length, S represents your arc length. So you go radius times your radians. Your radius is going to be the radius of your die in your bender. So my die is 6.5 radius. So I go 6.5 times 1.22173. That equals 7.94. So here's a little example. I have my start of bend. Well, you'd measure out from your center line out to the start of bend. Then from your start of bend, you put your arc length, which is the 7.94, and at the end of that would be your end of bend. So when you throw your tube in your bender, your start of bend is typically going to be this surface right here, and you're going to pull the tube where your line is, where you start to bend, and then as you're bending it, when your tube is getting pulled through the die, once you see the line for your end of bend match up or line up with the edge or the surface, that's going to be your end of bend. And you could always go off your degree wheel to figure out your bend angle. But that's how I figure out my bends. There's millions of other ways how to figure out bend angles, and you have old school guys that are just good at it, that don't need any math, and they just bend and it's correct. But I can't afford to be wasting tubing on my projects, so I have to do the math to try to figure it out. Hope this helps you guys. Thanks.